Hello, Jane. How are you?
Hello, Smith. I'm very well. How about you?
I'm also very well.
Hey, Smith. I've been trying to improve my English speaking skills. Do you have any tips?
Of course, Jane. I have plenty. First, tip 1. Speak English every day, even if it's just for a few minutes.
That's a good one. What else?
Tip 2. Think in English. It helps you to stop translating in your head.
Interesting. I'll give it a try.
And tip 3. Don't worry about making mistakes. It's part of the learning process.
I guess that's true. What's next?
Tip 4. Practice with native speakers or fluent friends.
But what if I don't know anyone who speaks English well?
Tip 5. Use language exchange apps. You can find someone to practice with.
Oh, I've heard of those. Any other suggestions?
Tip 6. Record yourself speaking and listen to it. You'll notice areas for improvement.
That sounds a bit scary, but I'll try it.
Tip 7. Mimic native speakers. Watch movies or listen to podcasts and repeat what they say.
I love movies. That should be fun.
Tip 8. Learn common phrases and expressions. It makes you sound more natural.
Like idioms?
Exactly. Tip 9. Focus on pronunciation and intonation. It helps with clarity.
Any specific way to do that?
Tip 10. Use pronunciation apps or online resources. They're really helpful.
Got it. What else can I do?
Tip 11. Expand your vocabulary daily. Learn a few new words every day.
I can start a vocabulary journal.
Great idea. Tip 12. Use the new words in sentences to remember them better.
I'll do that. Any tips for improving fluency?
Tip 13. Practice speaking at a normal pace. Don't rush, but don't speak too slowly either.
That makes sense.
Tip 14. Join English speaking clubs or groups. It's a great way to practice.
I'll look for some in my area.
Tip 15. Watch English news channels. It helps with understanding different accents.
I'll start with something simple.
Tip 16. Sing along to English songs. It's fun and improves your rhythm.
I love music. That's a perfect tip.
Tip 17. Describe your daily activities in English. It's good practice.
I'll start doing that.
Tip 18. Ask for feedback from fluent speakers. It helps you know where to improve.
I'll make sure to do that.
Tip 19. Set specific goals. For example, I'll learn 5 new words today.
That'll keep me motivated.
Tip 20. Challenge yourself with tongue twisters. They're great for pronunciation.
I'll try some classic ones.
Tip 21. Practice speaking in front of a mirror. It builds confidence.
That's a great idea.
Tip 22. Immerse yourself in the language. Surround yourself with English content.
I'll start with English radio.
Tip 23. Use online language learning platforms. They have interactive speaking exercises.
I'll explore a few options.
Tip 24. Learn to ask for clarification. Phrases like, "Can you repeat that?" are useful.
I'll keep those in mind.
Tip 25. Use English in your thoughts. It helps with fluency.
I'll start doing that.
Tip 26. Read out loud. It's great practice for speaking.
I'll pick up an English book.
Tip 27. Don't be afraid to use basic sentences. Simplicity is key at first.
I'll keep it simple.
Tip 28. Take advantage of English subtitles in movies. Listen and read simultaneously.
I'll definitely do that.
Tip 29. Join online forums or communities in English. It's a good way to engage with others.
I'll look into that.
Tip 30. Practice speaking in different scenarios, like ordering food or asking for directions.
I'll imagine myself in those situations.
Tip 31. Learn phrasal verbs. They're commonly used in conversation.
I've seen a few of those.
Tip 32. Play language games. They make learning fun.
I'll try that.
Tip 33. Don't just focus on grammar. Fluency is more important in conversation.
That's reassuring.
Tip 34. Use English language learning podcasts. They're tailored for learners.
I'll listen to some during my commute.
Tip 35. Practice storytelling in English. It improves your ability to connect ideas.
I'll start with short stories.
Tip 36. Learn the differences in accents. British and American English have variations.
That's something I've noticed.
Tip 37. Make English-speaking friends online. Social media is a great tool for this.
I'll reach out to people.
Tip 38. Practice role-playing. It's useful for common scenarios.
I'll give that a try.
Tip 39. Use apps that focus on conversational English. They're very practical.
I'll download a few.
Tip 40. Learn to think on your feet. Improvising in English helps you become more fluent.
I'll practice that.
Tip 41. Don't be afraid to pause. Taking a moment to think is fine.
That's good to know.
Tip 42. Take online speaking courses. They offer structured practice.
I'll sign up for one.
Tip 43. Use flashcards for vocabulary. They're great for quick review.
I'll make some flashcards.
Tip 44. Watch English comedy shows. They help you understand humor and idioms.
I'll listen to some during my commute.
Tip 45. Keep a language diary. Write about your day in English.
That's a great way to reflect.
Tip 46. Ask questions in English. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll be.
I'll start asking more questions.
Tip 47. Use English at work if possible. It's a good way to practice professionally.
I'll try to incorporate it.
Tip 48. Practice with children's books. They have simple language and are easy to understand.
I'll start with a few.
Tip 49. Engage in debates or discussions in English. It's good for advanced practice.
I'll find a group.
Tip 50. Stay patient and persistent. Learning a language takes time.
I'll keep that in mind.
Tip 51. Learn slang and informal language. It's used often in casual conversation.
I've heard some interesting slang.
Tip 52. Use English to set reminders or make lists. It's practical and helps with daily practice.
I'll start doing that.
Tip 53. Learn the cultural context behind the language. It helps with understanding expressions.
I'll research that.
Tip 54. Use English learning websites. They offer plenty of resources.
I'll explore some tonight.
Tip 55. Don't get discouraged. Progress may be slow, but it's steady.
I'll stay motivated.
Tip 56. Practice speaking on the phone. It's different from face-to-face conversation.
I'll try that.
Tip 57. Use online translation tools sparingly. They're helpful but not perfect.
I'll try not to rely on them too much.
Tip 58. Learn English grammar rules gradually. Don't overwhelm yourself.
I'll take it step by step.
Tip 59. Watch English cooking shows. They use practical language and are fun to watch.
I'll add that to my list.
Tip 60. Practice speaking with a timer. It helps you manage your speaking time.
I'll time myself during practice.
Tip 61. Don't translate word for word. Learn to understand the meaning behind phrases.
I'll focus on that.
Tip 62. Practice in different environments. It helps you get used to different situations.
I'll try that.
Tip 63. Learn to summarize conversations. It's a good skill for understanding context.
I'll practice summarizing.
Tip 64. Get familiar with common English abbreviations. They're often used in casual texts.
I've seen a lot of those.
Tip 65. Practice speaking in public. It builds confidence.
I'll work on that.
Tip 66. Don't be afraid to use simple language. It's better to be clear and understood.
I'll remember that.
Tip 67. Learn to express your opinions in English. It's important in conversations.
I'll practice that.
Tip 68. Try to guess the meaning of new words before looking them up.
I'll start doing that.
Tip 69. Practice storytelling in English. It's a great way to connect ideas.
I'll try to tell short stories.
Tip 70. Speak slowly if needed. Clarity is more important than speed.
I'll take my time.
Tip 71. Learn the rhythm and stress of English. It helps with sounding more natural.
I'll focus on that.
Tip 72. Practice describing things around you. It's a simple yet effective exercise.
I'll start describing my surroundings.
Tip 73. Engage with English-speaking media. Whether it's books, movies, or articles.
I'll immerse myself more.
Tip 74. Get familiar with English humor. It's a big part of casual conversations.
I'll try to understand jokes better.
Tip 75. Practice speaking with a partner regularly. Consistency is key.
I'll find a study buddy.
Tip 76. Learn to paraphrase. It's useful when you don't know the exact word.
I'll work on rephrasing my sentences.
Tip 77. Use English for practical purposes, like when shopping or ordering food.
I'll practice in real-life situations.
Tip 78. Challenge yourself with advanced content, like watching documentaries.
I'll push my limits.
Tip 79. Don't be afraid to ask for help. People are usually willing to assist.
I'll remember that.
Tip 80. Practice different forms of communication, like emails, texts, and face-to-face.
I'll practice them all.
Tip 81. Learn English jokes and puns. It's a fun way to understand the language.
I'll start with simple ones.
Tip 82. Use visualization techniques. Imagine situations where you'll use English.
I'll visualize scenarios.
Tip 83. Practice speaking in various tones. It helps with emotional expression.
I'll experiment with that.
Tip 84. Set small, achievable goals, like learning a new phrase each day.
I'll keep my goals manageable.
Tip 85. Learn to handle misunderstandings. It's part of communicating in a foreign language.
I'll stay calm if it happens.
Tip 86. Practice casual small talk. It's important in everyday conversations.
I'll start with simple topics.
Tip 87. Use language learning games. They make practice more engaging.
I'll find some fun games.
Tip 88. Practice speaking with intonation. It makes your speech more lively.
I'll pay attention to my tone.
Tip 89. Watch English tutorials or how-to videos. They use practical language.
I'll learn something new in English.
Tip 90. Practice speaking in English when you're alone. It builds confidence.
I'll talk to myself in English.
Tip 91. Learn to handle interruptions in conversation. It's part of natural dialogue.
I'll practice that.
Tip 92. Be consistent with your practice. Even a little every day makes a big difference.
I'll stick to a routine.
Tip 93. Learn to give and ask for directions in English. It's a useful skill.
I'll practice that.
Tip 94. Practice debating simple topics. It helps with forming arguments.
I'll find a debate group.
Tip 95. Use English word games. They're fun and improve vocabulary.
I'll play some word games.
Tip 96. Take time to reflect on your progress. Celebrate small victories.
I'll keep track of my progress.
Tip 97. Practice describing your emotions in English. It helps with deeper conversations.
I'll work on expressing my feelings.
Tip 98. Try to use English in your daily routine. Even small steps help.
I'll integrate it into my day.
Tip 99. Engage in active listening. It's as important as speaking.
I'll focus on understanding better.
And finally, tip 100. Never stop learning. English is a journey, not a destination.
Thanks, Smith. I feel more confident now.
Anytime, Jane. Keep practicing, and you'll see great improvement.
Don't worry, I'll do it every day.